Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Laurel Shimayo. This is our MeWe Awakening panel for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest, hopefully soon again, and we have lots of events online. We have online fairs. We have one this Thursday with about 15 practitioners. We have lots of panels like this tonight with usually 6 to 8 practitioners answering questions from the audience on different themes. We have training panels where we help newer practitioners opening to new modalities, practitioners getting practice, sharing publicly on stage. Get experience, get practice. And then we also have learning circles and practice circles and all kinds of different events here at MeWe. Well, let's see. So tonight we've got, I think it's 8 of us that are on the panel. So we're going to go through and share a bit about who we are. Maybe let's share about who we are in general, and then let's share about the topic about recovering from stress and burnout afterwards as best you can. If your work really is focused on this, go ahead and you can talk about it as the first part. And then we'll be answering questions from the audience. And I need to remember tonight to share about setting the container before we start answering questions, just reminding myself. I feel like it's free to be here to listen and learn, and it's a small price to ask a question. There's information in the chat about that. It's 16 to 24, sliding scale, $10 for BIPOC folks doing a step to make reparations. We request that you pay before you ask a question. And then if you could let me know in the chat that you've paid, that would be great. I'll make sure to get you in line so you get right there, get your question asked of the panel, to ask your question of the panel. All right, let's go around and start doing intros. And I will also be sharing our Facebook Live. So we grow the community of people that are here, and we want to be a great community of all of us supporting each other. All right, well, maybe let's start from my top right corner on my screen. Let's have, and let's see, I'm just going to keep it. It's a small enough group right now. I'll leave it just on speaker view. So Kendara, Susy, Henry, Christine, Sara E, Satora, Sarah P. We'll kind of go in this order. No. All right, go ahead, Kendara. Take a couple minutes and tell us how you do.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kendara in Denver, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here. My specialties are tarot, I Ching, and belief shifting, which consists of identifying self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors, often starting in childhood, and removing them and replacing them so you can manifest. Tonight, I'm offering a special of $1 a minute, which is about a 30% off. And I think it's so important to be talking about how to get rid of a little bit of stress. So thanks for the opportunity. Glad you're here.
Thanks so much, Kendara. All right, so we've got Susy and then Henry.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see so many of you again. Thanks for coming back. I'm Susy Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing and Blue Lightning Healing Meditations. I'm a channel, so I bring divine through in a variety of presentations. So Archangel Michael is this way and Gaia is that way, but it's all done in a way so that divine or source is accessible to you. You're comfortable talking with source. It's nice to have a face to put with it, because I know sometimes in meditations or when I'm doing intuitive work, I'm like, really? And I can't tell you how many times I would look over and see my angels over in the corner just going, oh, for God's sake, just listen, that sort of thing. So I like to present it in such a way that you can interact and we all work together, your guides, my guides, and us. We all work together to help you clear blockages from you, whether it's past life stuff or we do a lot of inner child work or looking at your current beliefs like Kendara does. Our beliefs can really can present challenges for us. I'm trying to find conscious ways of saying it, but can present challenges for us to keep us from having that heartfelt life that we all are looking for. I've got a special 20% off an hour session, and I think the code is 60MeWe20. And I'm looking forward to talking to you. You can find me at MeWe at bluelightninghealing.com. And you can also check out my podcast page. So every Thursday and Monday, I have a new link up there for the most current podcast. So thank you very much. Great to have you all here.
Thanks, Susy. All right, we've got Henry and then Christine and then Sara E.
All right, so I'm Henry India Holden, and I can be reached at henryindia, like the country, holden.com. And so I'm a life coach and spiritual director. So what I specialize in is helping people connect with their higher self or the divine in a way that aligns with their authentic self. And also I really love helping people connect with their higher purpose or their general purpose. It might not even feel like a higher purpose, whichever, however it feels for you. And also, what are the concrete steps, the practical steps that allow you to manifest that? So both of that, that's where my life coaching comes in. And do I say something now about the theme, or does that come later?
Let's talk about the theme later. Feel free to talk about all of your work right now.
Okay, all right. I think and I have a special $30 for 30 minutes and $50 for 15 minutes. And if you say that, you connected with me or saw me on MeWe, then that's the special you get. All right.
All right, great. Thanks so much, Henry. All right, Christine, Sara E, Satora, and then Sara P.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here all the way from Canada in the Eastern time zone. So it's already 9/11 here. And I help children and adults find their inner strength so that they can be the best version of themselves. I came about to doing this after teaching elementary school for almost 30 years after burnout and stress. So, and those are the strategies that I use to heal my life. And now I get to help others and even prevent. And that's why I like to work with children, because we can start at a very young age to help them, empower them to just be themselves and learn that it's okay to be you and not to be a people pleaser or whatever, So I do many of the strategies named before. So my super special is $100 instead of $160 for an hour and 15 minutes. And you can just email me at efttransformation@gmail.com and say that you heard from me at MeWe, and I will honor that. It'll be my pleasure.
Thanks so much, Christine. All right, Sara E, Satora, and Sara P.
Hi, I am a breath worker, and I bring this modality into the healing world along with Feng Shui. But mainly with this, my special is on this Thursday night, I'm having a virtual breathwork session, and it'll be displayed in Laureli's information. And it's this Thursday, Pacific time, from 6 to 7:30. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Breathwork has changed my life in so many different ways, and it helps relieve stress and really works in changing our stories and our patterns. And then intuitively with Feng Shui in our homes, like what can we do energetically to move things around that better support us so we feel more calm, but also the stories that our items in our homes have also bring us stress. So looking at that, what's in that space. So I look forward to working with you, and I can be found at saraegert.com, and it's Sara without an H, and Egert, EGERT.com. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Sara. All right, Satora, and then Sara P.
Hi, I'm Satora. I'm a channel and energy healer. I work with AmarEase, a group of ascended masters and angels, and we are all about well-being, helping you enhance your experience and your sense of well-being, tapping into the source of your well-being, and that on every level of your life, because well-being is our natural state, and we can thrive and shine when we are in this state of well-being, because then we're connected to our divine inner being. You can reach me at AmarEase.com. That's my website. And we publish something called Daily Eavesdrop. That's in your email 5 days a week, a channel message from AmarEase, messages to uplift and inspire. So if you visit my website, you can get more information about that, you can read all these they're all in a blog there. And if you wish, you can subscribe there if that's of interest to you. And we're having an event this Saturday coming up at 10 o'clock Pacific time. It's called At Home with AmarEase. So it has a channeled message and also an opportunity to ask questions. And then there's a longer 9-day event coming up soon that details will come out soon. So all of that you can find on the website if you're interested. And I think that's it. Oh, I have a special too. Special is 20% off individual sessions. And you can just, if you're interested, go to the website, book a session and mention MeWe. That will do it. Thanks so much. I hope you get lots out of this and that we can find for you exactly what you need in this moment, and enjoy.
Thanks so much, Satora and AmarEase. Sara P.
Hello, I am Sara Perez, and I own a company called Sara Perez Wellness. I am a Reiki master teacher, crystal therapist, and shamanic drummer. And I find that the easiest way for a busy, overthinking working mom to overcome stress and burnout is by letting go of their mind a little bit. And that seems to be a challenge for a lot of moms. It was for me. And so that is why I do what I do, because I hit burnout, and I really have made it my mission to help other moms get out of burnout, stay out of burnout, and recognize their burnout patterns. You can find out more about me at spmeditation.com. And I am running a special tonight for the participants at MeWe Fairs, 20% off a private shamanic drumming session.
Great, thank you so much. And I'm Laurel Shimayo. I'm doing admin on the back end as well as talking about myself. Let's see, I'm Laurel Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I believe that we all read eyes all the time. If you think about when you've met someone with dark sunglasses and you can't see their eyes, there's so much missing. And as soon as you see their eyes, there's so much there. We all naturally pick up so much about each other. Like our brains, our bodies have evolved so we can pick up everything about each other. And also I think our spirits just see each other and get each other and pick up so much. So I interpret what I see in your eyes with a set of archetypes called Thrive types. So I can describe your soul, and we can like play with how can you best express your soul? How can you share your purpose? Who are other people around you, people that you know now by looking in their eyes, and maybe people you don't know yet, and who would it be great for you to connect with? To help make choices about career, relationships in your life, maybe matchmaking, so you can find a new career, a new place to work that's a great fit, a new person to be in a romantic relationship with, all kinds of ways of using this. And then my body psychology coaching is just increasing your awareness of your body and getting the messages from your body. I'm sure this is going to be so relevant in the panel today, looking at I'm recovering from stress and burnout. And not only being aware of what your body's telling you, but also using your body as a way of shifting. Your body gives you feedback all the time. So are you paying attention? And are you using your body as your friend, right? Playing with your body, your soul and your body, right? Playing together to create the life that really would be of service to you and others while you're here. Well, those are all the kinds of things I do, as well as run this behind the scenes. Let's see, so that was great. You got to know a little bit about who all the 8 of us are. Now let's talk about the theme a bit, recovering from stress and burnout. We can sort of wander around in the same order, but then practitioners, feel free, you can jump in and you'll have a chance to share a couple times. Don't worry if you don't like get everything all at once. All right, so Kendara, do you want to start? And then
I'd love to start.
Great.
Stress is like a domino effect, because once I get stressed out, it just seems to build. It's almost like a little hamster wheel. So what I'm finding are techniques which help me just cope. Meditation, changing my thought from something which is worrying me just to a positive type of thing. And I find that if I catch it right away, it's not a negative thing. It's just letting me know it isn't the way it has to be. So I'm absolutely excited to share some of this with everybody. I think this is a much needed topic. So thanks, Laurel.
You are so welcome. And let's see. So then it's going to be Susie and then Henry and then Christine. Go ahead, Susie.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm impervious to stress and burnout, but no, I get stressed out. And in fact, the past couple of weeks, I have been very stressed out over situations that honestly haven't been within my control. And it's been surrounding people I hold dear. And so it has reminded me of being conscious of how I'm responding, of what my response is, and if I need to shift it. Because, I would love to kid. I like to kid and say, yeah, just wake up, and slap at people around. But that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. So um, when I find myself, um, what was it, a couple of nights ago, I just didn't have the bandwidth to deal with anything. I went to bed early. Yeah, I spent a little while on my phone and just chilled and found my meditation music, but it's that giving oneself a chance to rest. Um, I do often think about something that happened 30 years ago and I think, oh, what if and I also realize that's not helpful to me. So resting also means taking a break, trying to give my mind a chance to just chill out. And that's where meditative music comes in handy. It helps me fall asleep. Honestly, I love to hear rainfall. So I will play that. And when I am able to sleep and be conscious of my responses to things going on, so that also means sometimes I don't look at the news. Sometimes I just turn off social media. Sometimes I do put down the phone, and I have so many pandemic projects completed. Oh boy, do I have pandemic projects done. Um, it's it's an opportunity for me to get out of my head and into something else, and then to remind myself to breathe. Conscious breathing is really like the cheapest thing, and I'm sure our Sarah here can it is Sarah, yes, Sarah E. She's all about the breath work, and I use that in my practice too, but to actually use it on myself so I can confirm that it actually does work, because you've got that whole chest breathing and diaphragmatic breathing and just being conscious of your breath. It helps me tremendously, and I hope tonight that we can all have all kinds of options for folks and give you all ideas. And I'm certainly going to be taking some ideas away with me to help me deal with my stress and this potential burnout. So thanks. Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. All right, Henry is next, then Christine, and then Sarah E.
Yeah, so I experienced a lot of stress earlier this year and then experienced burnout. So the way I identify burnout is when stress reaches critical mass. Normally, before we get to that point of critical mass, there's stress and then there's a coming down from it and there's a recuperation time and then there may be stress again. But when stress reaches burnout, when there's critical mass, two things happen. One, you never quite heal, and the other is that you get a hair trigger. It takes almost nothing, just a little bit of stress to trigger the entire stress. It's almost like PTSD would be, where it's like a little something happens and then the entire shock to the system becomes present. So when my dog Kiki, who was my familiar, when she got really, really sick, I had to work so hard on constantly all day long taking care of her. And it was very difficult. It got to the point where if there was just a tiny little thing wrong with her, I would get an anxiety attack. And that was where I had reached burnout. And so how I worked that out is that, my partner, Stephen, is just wonderful. And he'll see that kind of thing. He'll go, okay, you need to do something about that. So one of the ways, like breathing, yes, that's fantastic. It raises the parasympathetic tone. And so like the whole system then is in service of calming and slowing down. So that's brilliant. And what I also found was to push the boundaries of goofiness. That works just so well because it's light. It invites laughter. Laughter has great hormonal changes in the body. And I also remember about how thoughts trigger a hormonal cascade. Jill Bolte Taylor talks about this in her TED Talk. And this hormonal cascade if it's the right cocktail, causes stress, but it only lasts for 90 seconds. These hormones have a life of 90 seconds. And Kendara, I think you've mentioned this before. And if you don't jump on the bandwagon, then you're not re-triggering the next cascade and the next and the next. So if you can catch it, and like for me, it's like getting goofy. Like just silly. So why wouldn't I want to be silly? Well, we always want to look good and acceptable and belong, and that people think we're okay, and not nutty and goofy and unprofessional. And so it's natural that we don't want to be goofy. But I find that goofy is very lightening and very liberating. So this is one of the things that I do, is to pay attention to what I'm thinking, which is I'm in trouble, and then like 1 second later I'm in trouble, and 1 second I'm in trouble, and that's like keeps triggering it, right? So I just breathe, and what do I want to say instead? What do I want to say instead? Okay, all is well. That works for me. That may not work for you. It may trigger you more. So every person has their own unique way of doing things, and I think that's pretty much all I want to say about that. Whatever liberates us, whatever liberates you, when you can breathe, that is something that can work when you're experiencing burnout or stress. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. And so then Christine, Sarah E, Satora, and Sarah P.
Hi, everyone. So stress and burnout was my middle name in 2017, 18, 19, until I went from being able to climb Mount Washington to being non-functional on all levels, intellectually, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically. So I really, really needed to re-find myself and become myself. So I really understand people who are stressed out and all the steps there are to make it out of there. So I can say today that I've healed most of my life. In some aspects, I am better than I was before. In other aspects, I'm still working on healing it. But for me, what's the most important is the stress, the burnout, but then there's the disease that comes in, right? And I had all these diagnoses. And it's so, so important to notice our emotions, to release them, notice our feelings, release them, notice your thoughts and release them. So as a certified EFT master practitioner, the tapping on meridian points calms your amygdala. And when your amygdala is calmed down even more, I'm trained to release trauma as well. So we have the gamut point and the 5 movements to really help release it from an unconscious level. And of course, if you integrate the energy work in there, it's a whole other level of releasing the trauma in there. So I always say that if you are noticing your thoughts, your emotions, or your feelings, you are 50% of the way there. So I encourage you to congratulate yourself, to celebrate that part, because celebrating our successes is so, so important in the whole recovery part. Of course, I loved how Henry said, be goofy, dance, listen to high vibrational music. I'm sure we'll hear something about the shamanic drums later on. That would be amazing. And it's take the words out, because we often listen to music without thinking. The radio, the news, is it uplifting you? So thoughts that uplift you. Are you around people who uplift you, who want to help you be the best version of yourself? So being stuck in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode for most of my life, I really understand what that means in being disconnected from my soul. I discovered a year and a half ago that I had all these gifts. And now I'm super lucky because I get to use my gifts to help people reconnect to who they are, who they truly are on a deep level. And I've been working with 3 generations, and I just love it. The grandma, the mom, and the granddaughter, right? And it's just so cool to be able to help people that way. Anyway, I don't want to take too much time, so I will let someone else continue. But I'm so grateful to be here, and that we have some people here that are here to learn and hopefully be able to take some steps forward. I want to say just one last thing. I created a technique that I call Snap, Set, Go for my clients so that they would have something that they could do between sessions. And it's a simple breath, tap, and release technique. And I'll put the information in the chat maybe later. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Christine. Sarah E. is next.
Hi, everyone. I love what everyone is sharing because there's so many great like little nuggets and what resonates with people and what may not. I know for myself, I mean, stress is like inevitable, like, and more recently, I had taken on a contract job and it's just like the alignment of it. There's so much stress every single day. Like this isn't in alignment with me. It's just not. And I'll go and treat myself. Like I went to Carson's Hot Springs. And I treat myself to like amazing high vibrational sound. There's great healers that are here on the call. And also like just around Portland or other areas, look for sacred sound or healing sound and just go. And the hardest thing that we have is we want somebody to go with us. We don't want to go by ourselves. Now, like it is so blissful when you go by yourself. And for me, I will be like, no one ever wants to go with me. Like, but when I go, like, I don't want anyone with me. Like because my experience, I don't have expectations. Oh, are they okay or not? I can go and leave whatever I want. I can talk to whoever I want. And my experience is just amazing. And that's actually what I treated myself each week. Like as I was trying to transition of like, is this contract job in alignment with me or not? And also like breath work for me, it's like, oh my God, I gotta get a breathe in. And when I work with clients, my clients, they're going through so much. All of us are. And even when we're not, we're like, no, we're okay. Like the breath work it helps us get out of our heads, to get more clear with ourselves and what we're going through. And then also, what little things can I do in my home? Like when I'm stressed out and things aren't going right in certain areas or how I want more flow, I'm like, okay, all right, let's sit in this. And so I meditate a little, I ask for signs. I'm like, all right, I need to start focusing on one area. Intuitively, it just kind of comes out for me. I might have to clean my front door or there's just little aspects, and it's energetically, it's the seen and the unseen. And our breath is our prana, our life force, and it's our life force in us. So really when we're consciously connecting to our breath with breath work, or even in a sound bath or with high vibrational music and any meditation, any of these amazing healers, like when we're connected with our breath and being in the space of that, always coming back to our breath, it allows us to get out of our heads. And from a Feng Shui perspective, Qi is energy, it's prana, it's all interchangeable. And that too is, how do we get more prana, that life force, that Qi flowing into our home space, and maybe just like little areas of moving things around. And we start noticing like how we feel better, and we're detaching ourselves from the stress, right? Like it's like, how can we just come to a different place and be in a different place and have a different experience? So that experience is creating new neural pathways in our mind to take us out of that naturally. That's a really helpful and healthy way to go about being in the present moment in very stressful situations. And there's other breathing techniques too. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, we've got Satora and then Sarah P.
So, yeah, I just came out of low grade burnout, I would call it. I had to step away from my business for a week, just from one day to the next, because I was just like, I couldn't do anything anymore. And I decided to take a week off. And what I did was, oh, while I have a week off from business, I could do this and this and this. So I made another to-do list for myself. And then it took me half a week to allow myself to not do my to-do list and just do nothing or whatever I wanted to do. So it took me like half of that time to actually really relax and give myself permission. So one of the important things, and after coming back from that week, I wanted to get really organized and work very efficient so I can have as much time off as I possibly can. That's my new goal, is have more relax and playtime and less work. It's a little, the actually doing of it is a little difficult. It goes against my grain. I'm German. It's all about work and effectiveness, but in my nature, I'm more playful. I really love what you said about goofiness. I'm naturally goofy as I am, so goofing around is really good. So so my main takeaway is it's important in planning, and especially if you are a planner, and even if you're not an organized planning person like me, to intentionally plan in time off, time for play, time for self-care, time where you do something other than what you usually do, what brings you stress, what your problems are, what you have to think about. So I think that is really important, and intentionally set that time as a relaxed time, play time, free time, rest time, however you want to call it. And you can have all of those together, and really give permission for this to be just for relaxing. And I think that's extremely important, and to have that regularly. And different people need different amounts of it. I'm super sensitive. I feel I need a lot. I need to walk in nature every day. That's like a basic thing. Walk by the beach. I moved somewhere where I can walk on the beach every day. For me, that is essential. That's like breathing. I need to do that. That's essential self-care. So if you're a person who loves nature and that is good for you, that is a wonderful way also when you're stressed out to go into nature and just relax and go into nature as much as you can, and to keep up and keep up your self-care. That's a wonderful thing too. And another thing that's important to me personally is in the morning, first thing, to somehow connect with we call it being essence, with our true being, with source, basically, with the power that creates worlds, that is within us and is always flowing to us, to somehow find a way of connecting with that, or with who you really are, or just give yourself a good time in the morning, even if it's just a minute or two or five of thinking about something that you appreciate, and just seeing something that is good before you start thinking about what all you have to do, because that's my programming. Is like, wake up and I should be meditating right now and doing this and this, and just by thinking I should and making it a should, it's a stressor. So just to remember to do something for the sake of it being something kind to yourself and something nice to yourself, rather than something that we have to. So for me, is it's very much not even that much about what we do, but what's the motivation, what's the attitude behind it. Am I doing this because I'm inspired? Am I doing this to be nice to myself, or am I doing this because I think I have to? So this is one very important thing for me personally. And then another thing is that we are so trained to, when there is challenges and difficulties and problems, there always are, more or less, usually more, to just dig in and think about it all the time and thinking about solutions. Yet energetically, when we are totally focused on the problem, then energetically we stay on the level of the problem. Some wise man once said that a problem cannot be solved with the thinking that created it. So energetically, it's the same. The energy configuration of a problem is a certain level and combination of energies. And when we relax and find a way to give that problem to infinite intelligence, just release it for a while, let it be, and tune into something that makes us feel better, that then brings us to a different energy level, and we get access to that infinite intelligence, because all solutions already exist in energetic form, and then we can receive them. And that makes my life so much easier when we, as a thinking mind, as a personality, don't have the feeling, or, well, I'll speak about myself, but I don't have a feel. There's this part of me that constantly feels overwhelmed by everything. And when I can release things and just give them to this greater power that is within me and the intelligence that is there, and I can relax, then I get inspirations and ideas, and I'm motivated to work. It's not that you sit down and do nothing all the time. It's just having these times of relaxation and being kind to yourself, because that then brings you into a flow and into a different energy state where you can receive easier solutions, or solutions that you haven't seen before, or just allow things to happen, that too, that then maybe you have to work less than you thought you would have to. So I think those are my, oh, and the other thing is I also do an energy healing method called Ching Tara, and this is enormously helpful. It is acupressure, where you touch certain points on the body that then balances the meridians in the body, the energy flow. And to me, that has become a very important tool, because that is also very relaxing and balances the energy. It's like a bridge between the spiritual and the body, and the mental and the body, and it calms everything down and balances it. So if there is a desire, I can show you one or two things that help, like one rescue remedy flow, we call them, points that you hold in a certain sequence, and then maybe another one. If there is interest, I can do that. Everybody can do that for themselves very easily, and there is no danger. You can't do anything wrong with it. So it's totally safe. That's it. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Satora. Yeah, we've all got so many different things that we're going to share as we answer questions, and we jump in and share in between. And I know I'm going to share some things, and practitioners that shared early, if you want, you can jump in and share more too. So Sara P., go ahead.
Okay, so I am, first of all, I just want to say I'm so lucky to be here, because you guys are incredible. The panelists have all shared really awesome tips and golden nuggets. And I mean, just everything has been incredible. And so I thank you all for being here. And it's my joy, my pleasure, and my privilege to be here as well, sharing what I know works for me and some of my clients as busy moms, right? So when you wake up first thing in the morning, and like Satora said, you think you should be doing something, we call that shoulding all over yourself, and nobody wants to should all over themselves, right? So there's a certain amount of guilt that comes into play when you first start doing this type of work, when you're first like, well, I really need to do something because I'm in burnout. Now, my background is in engineering, and I was an engineer for 16 years until I hit burnout and a chronic illness to come with it. So like Christine, she knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like you're a go-getter, you go, you have ambitious, or ambitions. And then all of a sudden you hit this wall and you're like, but I'm supposed to be doing this because that was my livelihood, right? But it actually is a blessing in disguise. And here's why. There's a thing called toxic positivity. And I know a lot of you have heard of toxic positivity, and I can say it backwards all day and I'll be goofy about it, right? Because that's just, it's healthy to do that. Yay, Henry. And so when you feel like you should be happy all the time, when you feel like, oh, everything is going to be fine. I'm not stressed out. I'm not stressed out. No, I'm the happy mom. I'm the quote unquote good mom. I'm the, like when we start labeling ourselves and those things that we want to be, but deep down inside, we're not feeling those raw and gritty emotions that we're trying to ignore, that can creep up. And I call that ninja stress, because you push it down, you don't even know it's there. And then the ninja comes up and pops you and said, guess what? You're going to have all your hair fall out. And I mean, I'm just going to extremes, right? In my symptoms, your hair is going to fall out. You're going to be exhausted all the time. You're going to be grumpy with your kids. You're not going to be present with them because brain fog comes into play. And so it's really important to acknowledge and recognize where you are. And even if those emotions feel painful or you don't want to feel them because that's not the way you should be, I want to let you know the first step is that it is okay to feel that way. It is okay to feel that way. There is nothing wrong with you. People are not going to shun you out of the tribe. And you know what I'm saying? Like, because we're wired as human beings to always be good for each other so that nobody kicks us out of the tribe and that we could breed and, whatever. Basic like caveman dynamics. But we don't live in a scarcity world anymore. We are so blessed to go to the grocery store and pick up like a thing of vegetables and a loaf of bread or whatever, right? We are so blessed to be able to be in large communities or online communities, which is another fantastic thing, to help us with what we're going through. And when you know that you're not alone, it helps you process all that stuff that comes up so much better, right? I mean, we have wonderful healers on this panel, and I went nuts when I first became a healer because I'm like, I have to learn everything. But my base is in Reiki, and Reiki is, so ki energy is the Japanese word for chi and prana and life force energy, but Reiki is spiritual or source energy. So we bring it in and distribute it first for ourselves to heal ourselves, and then to others as we're healing. And it's so amazing that when you have these situations where you're just exhausted, you're like, I'm exhausted, but I'm denying that I'm exhausted. Don't deny that, because if you are, there's help, and nobody's going to beat you with a cane, I mean, at least I hope not. But when we overthink these things, and a lot of times if you're a busy person, like who isn't busy, but on top of the stress of the current world situation, like it becomes harder to share sometimes your personal pain journey because you feel like you're complaining, and that's not it at all, right? When you're overthinking and you're doing the breath work and you're like, oh man, but then did I leave the oven on, and are my keys are still in the car? Did I lock my car? Like, these are all things that I see when I'm teaching people meditation, but at the same time, they're things that I see in myself. And so when I do that and it's just silent, or I have some music in the background and I really need to get to that place of divine guidance, that's when I bring in the drumming, because that constant beat of drumming brings you into a theta brainwave state. And I know I'm going to get a little nerdy here, but I'm a little nerdy, right? So it brings you into a theta brainwave state. And what that does is it allows you to release those should-haves, could-haves, and would-haves And then you can go straight to your guides. Now, I have a specific set of guides that I've worked with for a while. New ones appear sometimes, and I'm like, oh, let me Google them. I want to see what they look like. I want to see the artwork, right? But all in all, when we allow that drum beat and that sound therapy to take us to a different spot that's not our immediate stress and problems, that's when we're able to heal. That's when our body does magical things to repair itself and repair your cells that have been damaged by constant chronic stress that has led to that burnout situation. So that's why I like to utilize the drumming as a tool. There's specific drum beats and things like that for clearing, for grounding, for prayer, for affirmations, all that kinds of things. That's something that I don't have time to go into here, but it's something that I work with my clients on because we build a vision, just a basic vision. Then we go into the drumming, and then they come up with their own wisdom that they've tapped into, and we create goals based on that, which is super awesome. I do it all the time. I literally set aside a half an hour after a shamanic session to journal because I have so many ideas that never even came to me before that come to me after my brain went theta, basically. So it's very healing to do it that way. And if you have a chance to create that space, like create your boundaries using your calendar, that's a perfect way to start.
Great, thank you. All right, got more people joining. All right, and I'll share a little bit too. I took some notes. I'll kind of quickly run through my notes, and then if any other practitioner, if you want to jump in and share something, go ahead. And yeah, and I have my dog with me, and so I'm going to mention my dog and animals in our lives. So first I was thinking about when have I felt the most stress, and I think feeling stress, and certainly not healing from the stress when we feel it, not getting back in resonance with our own energy. That's what causes burnout. Like one big thing that causes burnout. I feel the most stress when I feel toxic shame, when I'm blaming myself, shaming myself for doing something wrong. When I regret something, I want to change an agreement, I'm feeling guilty and I'm having trouble stepping in to actually change that agreement. When I've overcommitted, I can't do something and I haven't yet faced that and changed things. And then an example of the time where I felt the most stress in my life, I was feeling a lot of financial stress. And I have times of a lot of abundance and times where I felt more financial stress. It's probably one of my personal edges. Is when I finally faced that I had to declare bankruptcy. And the day that I felt the most stress was, it turns out in order to file bankruptcy, you have to stop paying your bills. And the day that I had to stop paying my bills, like this huge step out of integrity for me. That was just the most intensely stressful day of my life. And I made it through, and I realized like the longer journey and the bigger goal, and it's just a step towards that. And, lessons and learning. And I don't think I've shared that publicly before. And I'm past enough of the shame that I can share that. Let's see. And then, so some of the ways that I value for moving through stress to prevent burnout. So in general, how much sleep I get, what I eat, and how I move. And in terms of moving, I sit a lot. I'm at my computer a lot, but I'm sitting on a ball. So I'm moving all the time. And I'm fortunate, genetically, I'm a short sleeper. So I sleep less than other people. I need to sleep less than others, and I recover very quickly from shorter sleep. But yeah, whatever is a natural rhythm for us, super important. I think it's great to use tools to help us check in and see how we're doing with our body rhythms, things like heart math and how much heart coherence we have, or even blood pressure and watching blood pressure. I can sit and do meditation, or like for heart math in particular is a great one of the tools they teach, are focusing on something or someone that you love, right? So simply focusing on that, all of our body rhythms, reconnect really, I think, to a more natural rhythm. And you can watch on the heart math tools, for example, or on blood pressure, like watch the numbers change. Oh goodness, let's see. So, and in breathing, people have talked about breathing, right? So slowing our out breath more than 6 seconds for a cycle, breathing more deeply. Sweetie, but that may be mostly a tool for slowing our breath, but I think it also changes just the chemistry in our bodies. Belly breathing. Yeah, so choosing joy, choosing to build our muscle, focusing on what's joyful, and not thinking about what the challenges are, and how much do we let ourselves just look around and see the beautiful plant, or see outside, or look at our dog and think about, so how much do we choose that, and practicing growing that muscle of choosing that. And then also taking in the positivity. Someone said positively earlier, appreciation. So growing our capacity from completely dismissing it, being present to it for seconds, being present to it for a minute and minutes, and then hours. Right? So how long do we let ourselves savor positive and appreciation? Things like appreciation. Right? I still have lessons there too. And then, oh yeah, John Gottman talks about the healthiest relationships have a ratio of appreciation to criticism of 7:1. So I think of that as an aim for myself, that I have 7 appreciative thoughts of myself to every critical thought I have of myself. And then Brene Brown interviewed Emily and Amelia Nagoski. They have a book on burnout. Great. Their interview was amazing. And their description of feelings, I think of them as waves, was like, think of it as a tunnel, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. And if you're willing to travel through the tunnel, you'll get to the end. So it's so important, as others have said too, feeling your feelings. So feeling the wave of feelings. Getting around the rhythms of nature, I think is so healing. Various people have talked about that too. Oh goodness. So whether it's being with your dog that's calmer, being with your dog who's present in the moment, being with trees, sitting outside and listening to the birds, waves. Last Saturday, I took my dog out on the paddleboard. So a way that I'm learning recently to take breaks and take breaks away from my technology is to go out on the paddleboard. I like to have an active, I don't like to just be present, be quiet, and still. I like to move. So for me, being on the water is a good solution. And a way that I have always just felt the most joy and complete shift is to listen to music I love and to sing. And so singing makes me think too, like oming and the vagus nerve, and just having the rhythm of the energy. People have talked about sound healing and all of that. It's helping us get back to natural rhythms. And to me, that's the biggest way to alleviate stress and to prevent burnout and to recover from burnout. Yeah, so there's just a bunch of things I thought of. Oh, and there's different affirmations. We had a panel on affirmations last night, and this didn't come up, but someone talked about easy, right? Are we choosing hard? Are we choosing easy? And how can we choose easier? Just to say, I choose easy, right? I choose easy life. It doesn't mean we're not of service. We're choosing what's the easiest to our energy. Yeah. Oh, those are some things. Yeah, and so Lotte is here with us too for a little bit. And yeah, my healer dog. I'm currently doing couples therapy with my partner. We've been doing that for a number of months, and he almost always comes to sit right between us, and he puts a paw on me and a paw on her. Yeah, so various creatures. All right. Well, so I know some of us that talked later talked a lot longer. So those of you that talked in the beginning, is there anything else you want to share? And I know we've got at least one person in line with a question, and I'm sure we're going to get more here. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to jump in.
I would like to talk. Oh, that's your cat, Kendara. I didn't know. I thought you had a tentacle coming up. Oh my God. So that's a nice lead in for using humor. I was going to start off with reiterating how important movement is, but humor is really good too. That I've found that my husband is in a show called The Odd Couple, which is a 1960s Neil Simon play, and it opened Friday, and I think I have not laughed so hard in so long. I actually might have pulled a muscle in this side, in my left side. So good thing I have someone who can help me with that. But I think that movement is really important. Oh, let's see, Christine, was that you who wrote it up in the comments that you were talking about it? And I think it is. I love taking my walks. And that's what happened this last week. I didn't take my walks. So maybe that's when I allowed that stress to pile up. And then, as I just let in with, is I think humor is really helpful. Watching something that makes me laugh, the old Dick Van Dyke Show, or finding interesting interpretations of what's going on around me. And yeah, that's my added 2 cents. Thanks.
Thanks, Susie. All right, who else wants to jump in?
I'll jump in briefly. And I shared this yesterday, and then Henry made allusions to it. And when you're going through a stressful experience, when you have a stressful thought, you've got 90 to 120 seconds to change it before it's integrated. So if you can catch it and just change your thought, even if you're imagining something, just something to bring your vibration to a higher place, it doesn't increase. And it's such a really healthy, wonderful way to just get your attention in another way. So I just wanted to share that because I found it really, really helpful. And animals, of course, but that's later in the conversation.
Thanks, Kendara. All right, Henry, go ahead.
And one of the things that hasn't come up yet is rest, sleep. At least I don't think. Have we talked about sleep? Like literally like sleeping. I think that burnout can cause you also not to want to sleep. And so so here's the thing, right? I used to be a singer, and I was professionally trained. My mother was an opera singer, but I sang pop. And people would come up to me and they would in all earnestness say, I wish I could sing like you. And then me being very young and German, like you, Satora, I would say, well, how many hours have you practiced? And people would be taken aback because they would assume, I don't know what they assumed, but I don't think they thought it had something to do with a heck of a lot of work. So why am I bringing this up? It's because people talk a lot about, I only get this many hours sleep, or I just, after this much time, I wake up and, well, it takes effort, and it can take effort. It can take really hard work to get in the hours. So how you know you've gotten enough sleep is when you wake up and you feel a certain kind of, it's a good day. Oh, this might be a good day. This is a sign of having gotten enough sleep. Whereas if you get up and you feel, that's a sign you haven't gotten enough sleep. So there's research shows that there is a huge connection between depression and sleep, how much sleep you get. And I think the same is true for when you have burnout. You must give your body time to recover, and sleep is the #1 way to do that. So the other thing is, somebody mentioned listening to music that raises your vibration. And was that you, Laureli? Because I see you nodding. So yes, wonderful. And so there's also one other thing, and this might be a sacred cow here. It certainly is for a lot of people I know, which is what you watch, not just what you listen to. So a lot of times when we feel overloaded, overburdened, basically burnout is when you get to a point of not being able to cope. Then we want to check out. And a lot of times the things that allow us to check out are not things that raise our vibration. And so then again, what is required is to be healthy, and it's not a quick trick. And I'm not saying anyone else is suggesting that. I'm just saying, oftentimes we're looking for the quickest, most readily available, easiest to apply solution. And I think with burnout, none of that really happens. I think that we want to just check out, and that is not going to help heal our burnout. When in the 80s, I was lifting weights with a former Mr. Canada. And when I would get to the gym at 4:30 in the morning, he would look at me and he would say, are you happy or are you sad? Very threateningly. And if I couldn't convincingly say that I'm happy, I had to go back home, because he knew that I was going to have burnout if I worked out as hard as we did, if I wasn't in a great frame of mind. So that was like an effort I had to make. So long story short, to put it in a nutshell, to heal from burnout or to prevent burnout may take real effort, and it may take real self-discipline, and it may take a real commitment. And lastly, burnout is not going to go away on its own. I think if you can take like a 6-week vacation and go to some Hawaii or Italy or something, maybe then for sure this might very well help. But barring that, you may actually really, or we may actually really have to do the work. I certainly had to do the work, just literally like inundate myself with high vibration things, and as well as getting enough sleep, forcing myself to sleep before midnight. Somehow there's something magical about that. And to just say no to everything that was stressing me out, and to do the breathing, do everything everybody was saying. So it's a lot of work, I think, but I think it's necessary. It's sort of like when you get sick and you have to take your medicine. So those were some of the thoughts I wanted to share.
So Christine, go ahead.
I just wanted to add a few things that came up, and I love what you said about sleeping. And I put an intention when I go to bed that my body recuperates while I sleep peacefully throughout the whole night, and that really helps. And in the morning, when I have my shower, like this morning anyway, I thought of it was to have a clearing shower. So I asked that the water clear all whatever it is that doesn't belong to me be cleared, because as highly sensitive people, it's super important to learn many of those tricks. So when somebody was I think one of the Saras was talking about the shoulds. Well, instead of I should be doing this, if you have a toolbox that you enjoy all the tools that are in it, and you pick one, you can even write them and say, okay, today I'm going to do this. Or you can just, what do I feel like doing, to help myself today from my toolbox? And pick one thing from your toolbox that will help you realign, get grounded again, recentered. And because the mind needs different techniques, in my opinion. That's all I wanted to add.
Thanks so much. So much great advice we all have here in the beginning, right? So rich. And there'll be more, and we'll tailor it to each person's question as those of you ask questions. Well, I know we've got one person in line right now. We've got Sage in line. So let's get Sage up here. And I guess before we start, we say that we believe that everyone's intuitive. So all of you that are here, you may have answers come through you. We request that you allow the attention to stay up on the panel as we answer questions. I recommend that you write down whatever comes through you, because it often is fleeting. And if you want, when we're done answering someone's question, you're welcome to privately message them, privately chat them in Zoom, and ask them if they'd like to hear what came through you. Please honor whatever they share. They may be full after hearing answers from all of us. And then also, when you ask a question, keep in mind that this is recorded and it will be posted online. When you ask a question, we may go deeper than you intend us to go in this format, or talk about other topics that for us are related, but that you don't want us sharing here. That's totally okay. Please let us know. You can tell us ahead of time how you want us to focus our feedback, or if we wander off somewhere you don't want us sharing, please interrupt us, let us know, and we will redirect. All right, I think there are 3 things. Did I wind them up all together? Oh, and this is a great opportunity for all of you to open to your intuition, because you get to see if what comes through you is something that we also share. You may get messages that are in addition to what we share that we don't share, and they may still be incredibly valid. Just wanted to make sure that you all have that context as you listen, and we all hold space together. All right, Sage, where are you? Do I see where you are?
Hi.
Okay, great. It's up to you. Do you want to turn on your video? Oh, do you want to turn on your video? It's totally up to you. You don't have to.
Honestly, I was on Zoom a lot today, so my
okay.
self-care is being off camera right now.
Yeah, that's great. You totally don't have to. Okay. All right. What is your question? And it can be about anything. You can ask us questions about anything.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Just so for a little bit of background, I work in mental health. I'm also an intuitive. I run meditation groups. I've also taught about boundaries and burnout prevention, but I myself am pretty stuck, and I'm struggling to still find work. My friend is in the COVID ICU, and I just feel stuck. And my question is, how do you show up for others when you work in a helping field, especially when you are feeling burnt out? Because I don't really have the option, at which I would suggest to others, of taking a break and getting non-human time, because really I just need to be away from humans, but I can't really do that.
Yeah, what a great question. You know, and I do work for I just say I do work for myself now, and that helps a lot. I get to choose what clients I see, and I also get to mix up my work, right? So I'm helping run an event right now, so I'm around people, but at the same time, like there's some planning time and things like that where I'm not around people, so I get to mix it up. So that's one thing, is like choosing work, what that's a mixture, or working for yourself if you can. And oh my goodness, there, I'm sure others are going to talk about this. There are all kinds of ways of setting kind of like energetic filters, the intention that what others are sharing like pass by, that it doesn't get in, doesn't impact your energy in the ways that it might be. So having some tools for like closing up your chakras. One practitioner that was here has a tool of zipping up your chakras, even just having the intention of like zip. And we can play with that. There you can say, what's that?
That's cute. I like that. That's cute.
She does it with kids. It's like really, really great. And so the example she gives is she says something harsh to herself, you know, warning, says something harsh to herself, then zips and then says it again. And like it just, I so can feel it, like it doesn't go in the same way, because I've had the intention. I've declared for myself that I'm important and I'm going to honor my energy. Right. So simply setting those intentions when you're going to be around people can make a big difference. Yeah, there's a little bit, and we've got a couple practitioners in line. So let me have them jump in. Kendara and Christine. So go ahead, Kendara.
Hi, Sage. So as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm intuiting that I should tell you about the selfish giver. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes.
Okay. So what does it mean to you when you hear that term?
To me, a selfish giver would be someone who gives without having boundaries. I wouldn't consider that for myself because I do hold and keep strong boundaries, and I love teaching boundaries. So I don't feel that that fits. So maybe my definition is off.
Well, it's not off, but it's different than the one I've got for you.
Okay.
So I'll start by giving you an example. Let's say you had promised a friend that you'd come over and watch their child, or you go over and have lunch with them, and you didn't have the energy. You were burned out. You were just exhausted. You would say something to them to the effect, well, you know, let's not get together today, but let's get together later, or I'll call you tonight. So you're being a selfish giver in that you're giving only in the way that you can. You're still there for them, but it gives you some time. And you're definitely having boundaries in that way. Another thing is to meditate a little bit. Do you meditate?
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't it help? It's a great thing to do. And you don't even need to do it when you're in a certain place. You can just sit down and look down and breathe in and hold it and breathe out, and do that whenever you feel stressed. But I think the main thing for you is to be there. Well, there's no one main thing. Be there for them, but be there for yourself. Give yourself at least 15 minutes a day just to do what you want. And yeah, be there for your friends. But if you're not feeling it, if you're getting drained, you ain't doing no good for anybody. So be there, but also do it when you feel like you really can. And if you catch it right away, then it'll give you more time to relax and you'll know how to do it. So be good to yourself. I hope that gives you something to work on. Just helps you. You're very welcome.
Thanks, Kendara. All right, Christine.
I would just like to add that you just start by breathing when you really feel that. And there's a point here. And if you can just tap here and take a deep breath in your lower belly, relax your shoulders, and then exhale. If you do that in the elevator, on your way to see your friend in the ICU, just 3 times will really help you. And then I have the Is It Mine technique, where you put your hand on your solar plexus, so right here above the belly button, and you listen to your body and you ask, is it mine? Sometimes I'm really tired and I ask, is it mine? And my body relaxes. Well, it's not my energy, it's somebody else. So what do? You can imagine a shower clearing. I love the pink blanket all around me. I put a thick layer of pink all around me, and my body just goes, oh, and I feel so much better instantly. So those are some really good tricks. So it's bringing the attention back to your breath, tapping, breathing in, relaxing, and exhaling for at least 4 seconds. And that's my snap, set, go technique. So have fun doing that.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Christine. And practitioners, I didn't say this, you're all doing great. If you could please try to keep your answers to 3 minutes or less, that'd be great. Go ahead, Susie.
Okay. Hey, Sage. I understand where you're coming from. My sister had COVID last month and she was actually down with it for a month and she's still experiencing some of those. And being in a different state from me, I would call her and I, it was really hard. So I completely understand where you're coming from. The technique that Lorelei brought up, the zipping up your chakras, do you know how to do that?
I have not heard that before, actually.
Okay, so Lorelai walked away, so it's not like I'm taking her line. I hope I'm not. But you envision, or you can just run your hands up your chakra. Lorelai, I'm going to tell her about zipping up her chakras.
Yeah, that's
Is that
great. Go
okay, or
ahead.
do you want to?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So Sage, how I would do it is I would run my hands up from my lowest chakra, which is at the base of my spine, and I would bring it up the front of me. And you can do it as a zipper, or you can do it on both sides, like bring one arm up from behind and bring it over and then bring it up to the front. And then you can lock it in place and zip up your chakras that way. And that is a means of protection. Christine was just talking about envisioning a shower. I used to work in this office where when I took my shower in the morning, I would set that intention that it would remove the sludge off of me. It was such a toxic work environment. And so you could do that when you physically take a shower if the physicalization helps you. And then, yeah, the protection, I like the buckyball image where, the buckyball looks like a soccer ball and it's the soccer ball of love and you bring it out and you expand it around you. Um, and it has two sides, an inside and an outside, and the outside could be a mirrored surface so that anything coming at you that's not in divine alignment with you bounces off. And then the inside of it, I can see for you lining it with some sort of crystal that would help you, like rose quartz or an obsidian to absorb any negativity. And you can keep that in place while you're going about your day. And you can reset it anytime you want. Does that make sense? Because
It does make sense. And then do you have to like unzip it afterwards?
I think with the combination with the shower to help you remove that stuff, which is maybe clinging to you, I don't think you need to unzip it.
Okay.
I don't know. If anybody else has got another opinion about that, I would love to hear it. Lorelai does.
My
So,
my
yeah.
experience is that subconsciously, as I feel safe, that I'm unzipping it and letting it go. So I don't do an intentional one. For me, the big thing is to intentionally zip.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
Great,
Cool.
thank you. All right, Satora.
Hi, Sage. I have a question. Do you believe in angels?
Yes.
So Archangel Michael is wonderful in terms of energetic protection, and setting boundaries, being in your own field, and something that I do a lot, even throughout the day, is it is like a little prayer to Archangel Michael, just asking him for help. It's actually Archangel Michael and Archaea Faith. Archaea Faith is the feminine part of Archangel Michael. That they go together. So I say, Archangel Michael, Archaea Faith, please release into the light any and all discord I, first of all, generated, picked up, was sent to me by, and then you can do it for just one person when you notice something happened, or sometimes when a lot happened and I forgot about it, I just say, um, all these people I interacted with today or anything I read, and I make a whole list of those things. And sometimes when I'm totally exhausted at night, I just say any and all discord, and it always works. So they help you clear that out of your energy field, and discord is anything that's not in alignment that we pick up. And then you can also ask for energetic protection um, in a blue light. Blue is the color of Archangel Michael, and the blue light is really helping. And he's really great in this um, the inner strength, and standing your ground, and here the do not pass, you cannot pass kind of energy. It has helped me tremendously in the last year since I've been working with him a lot. I have a totally different stance in the world. I don't feel so overwhelmed and victimized anymore. So he's a great one. They are great ones to talk with and ask for help and do these processes. And also when you go somewhere where people need your help, you can send angels to them. You can, before you go anywhere, you can send the angels there and loving energy, and have them help you do the work. And that already raises the vibration, and it takes that burden off that you have to do everything. And that doesn't mean that you then sit around and don't do anything. It just means that you invite a higher vibrational loving energy into it, and that makes everything easier, and they help in invisible wonderful ways. And yeah, that makes it easier. The other thing is, it sounded to me like the situation you're in right now, that you would love to improve that and have different work and be in a different situation. So in order to move there, one idea is that you can spend some time, if you can, every day, and connect with your future self, because that version of you that is already in that new situation, that already exists on a vibrational level, and you can connect with it. You can also just just think about it, how it will be, and think about it in the essence of it, the feeling of it, not so much the details. I will make so and so much money and this and that, but I will feel appreciated. I feel strong. I love my work. I feel joy, abundance, whatever the essence for you is that you desire to just go into that feeling a little bit, and tell yourself and connect with the version of yourself that is already there. So that is then helpful to move into a different situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, Satora. All right, practitioners. Yeah, anything else that you want to share with Sage? Oh, Henry, go ahead.
Hi, Sage.
Hi.
Good to see you tonight. I'm not with my eyes, but with my heart. So I love everything everybody said. I mean, there's so much wisdom on this panel. And I think something that occurred to me was like when I was listening to you, I was thrown back to a time in 2009 when I was remodeling a house. Actually, sorry, it was in 2007 when I was remodeling a house. And if you all know, this is when the real estate market went bust. And so I was remodeling this house. Our builder was a con man. He absconded with all the money, and we still owed that money, and he only got the house 20% ready. We didn't know anything about anything that you do, nothing. We were not professionals. This was just something that this builder had suggested we do in order to wealth create. And which of course was part of the con. And so each day we had to go to this house and do work to remodel it without knowing how to do it. And back then, YouTube wasn't, I'm not even sure if it existed, but it wasn't like today where literally anything you want to do, there'll be tons of videos to show you how to do it. And so so this is where we were at. And I was saying to someone, it's so hard, because they said to me, how are you doing? And I said, it's so hard. And they were very cruel. And they said to me, this is what I hear you say every time I talk to you. And I'm like, well, because every time you talk to me, this is true. And she said, maybe you should start saying something different. And I was really hating her. My vision's hitting her because it was hurting so much. And but I was reminded that language can serve different purposes. And most of the time we use it to report on what's going on. And like when I'm saying it's so hard, I'm reporting on what's going on. And when I'm saying it's so heartfelt, it's because somehow I'm hoping that after I have said it's so heartfelt, somehow there'll be a solution, somehow there'll be a relief. It's like unexamined, but this is what happens. We want to heal. So we share what hurts in hopes of healing. And so I also knew that there is such a thing as generative speaking. And this is what this person was talking about, that I ought to stop reporting on the problem and start being generative in my speaking. And I've done this many times in my life, and I really didn't want to do it because this was so hard and it hurt so badly. There were days where Stephen and I just didn't even want to go down there to the site because we're like, we don't even know what to do. So yeah, we can't even go down there. And then by noon, finally, we would drag ourselves out of the house. I mean, it was horrifying. It was many months of the worst, some of the worst times of my life. So I totally get it when you're saying that you're kind of in this stuck place. I've been there myself, and I did not want to start to speak generatively. I didn't want to say, today is an easy day. I didn't want to say, I know how to do this. That seemed like insanity to me. Because like, this is obviously not true, but I knew from experience that it works. So I just was like, through clenched teeth, today is a good day. Today I'm going to know how to do this. And little by little, it dug me out of the hole. And are you familiar with Mike Dooley's things, thoughts become things?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but yeah, I think you said thoughts become things.
Yes, and it's that principle. Thoughts become things. That's why speaking can be generative. So if you're able to say when you're thinking, I don't have the time to take care of myself because I got to do all these things, or whatever it is that you're stuck with, if you're there acknowledging that and loving on yourself for it, and being kind to yourself and generous and sweet talk yourself, as you're familiar with, when you then say the opposite of that, like if you have to through clenched teeth or with a bunch of periods in the day, today, pause. It's pause, a great day. No matter how you can do it, even if it doesn't look like that's going to help, you're building on it. It gets better. This is a way that your life can change, and you can, rather than having to dig out of where you're stuck, there can be a transformation. I cannot tell you why that works. I have no proof that works other than the anecdotal proof of my own life. We ended up finishing this remodel, and we ended up selling it. I mean, we didn't make any profit, but that's another story. We did finish it. We did the impossible. We didn't know how to do it, and we did it. So I know for sure it's possible from my own personal experience. And I think a lot of other people who have used this kind of generative speaking, that it has changed their lives. So this is the one thing that I can recommend to you. What it requires is for you to really think about what you're thinking. So one of the ways that you can think about what you're thinking or noticing what you're thinking is with these things. Oh, do you see what this is?
Post-its.
Yeah, post-it notes are your friend. So it's like you have little post-it notes, and then when you're catching yourself going, thinking a thought of how stuck you are, how between a rock and a hard place you are, write that down and stick it on the wall wherever, like have a little wall board, stick it on the wall. And at the end of the week, look at all these thoughts. And what happens is that when you know what these thoughts are like, you'll notice that they are all either identical. So like you might have like 25 or 10 different thoughts, and you have them over and over. And there's very little variety. And so when you do this, you get to know by heart what it is that you're thinking. And then when that thought thinks itself, because you don't go, I'm going to think now about how stuck I am. You're not doing that. You're automatically just thinking that, there's like, I can't do this because of that, but I can't change that because of this, like it just thinks itself. So you'll recognize that thought. And then when that thought thinks itself, you'll be like, I just had that thought. There it is. Okay, now I'm gonna like energy, raise my vibration and think another thought, which you have no basis in reality. It's generative speaking. It's like a spell. It's like you're a magician and you make a spell. And this may help you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Great, Henry. Thank you. All right. Oh. And I don't think anyone mentioned this. Oh, Sarah, did you have something? It's a different raised hand. Go ahead and jump in though. Yeah. We'll work on which
Yeah, it's weird. My raised hand's different than everyone else's. So I have a suggestion, like in your car beforehand or after. I mean, I'm sorry you're going through all that. It's COVID is so what everyone has said. Actually, my mother is still in recovery after April, learning how to walk again and stand because she lost all her muscle and strength being in bed for 2 months in the hospital, and she's still in recovery and keeps on going back because of other complications. So my heart goes out to everyone that has experienced this. So thank you.
Thank you.
And so with that, like that's a lot of my stress that's been going on in my life. And meditation, I know there's always so many different things, and it's just asking the universe for signs, like what should maybe a meditation or something. But what I love is 2 different breathwork techniques, and they're considered more like a pranayama. But when I say pranayama, prana is breath, it's life force, but it also helps just ground us back into our bodies. One is alternate nose breathing. It also helps activate both hemispheres of our brain, and also really like just ignite some of our creativeness with outside of stressful times. So inhaling, so what we would do is thumb on the right nose, ring finger on the left, and you can take your 2 middle fingers, you can place them between your brows, your third eye. You're going to inhale through the left. You're going to hold it for the count of 3, or if you have a mantra or like an affirmation, repeating it, you can repeat it up to 3 times, holding it, exhaling out through the right, and then inhaling through the right, holding it, and then repeating your mantra and exhaling out through the left. You can also mix it up with that mantra. As you're inhaling through the one side, having that mantra. A mantra is like an affirmation. It could just also be peace. There's other Sanskrit, like Om Ganapate Namaha, which is remover of obstacles. A lot of it is Shanti, is peace, peace, peace. Om Namah Shivaya. So there's different things that may resonate with you, different sayings. And so you have that consciousness of being with your breath, inhaling, focusing on that, being with a mantra that works for you. Of, you know what, there's so many great suggestions here. So like being with that. The other is 20 connected breaths. And 20 connected breaths is 4 short, and then 1 long. And you breathe in and out through your nose. And what I like to do is I count on my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's 4. And then the 5th one is the long one. So and I do that 4 times. So because that's 5 breaths, 4 times, and that's 20 connected breaths. And then just sitting there after that. So there's a few breathing techniques. Thank you. Hugging you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, and I realized the answer that I gave earlier really is for people that have the opportunity to work for themselves. And if you're working in healthcare right now, right, not as many opportunities to shift and change things around. So, see.
That is my goal. It's just that I have to get through a lot more school and training. So that will be what my end goal will be, but I don't have that option until then. So
What are you studying right now?
social work.
Okay. Okay. And and are you particular, so which patients are you working with right now? What exactly are you doing? Have been doing?
Right now I'm running a lot of support groups online. So we deal with a lot of the heavy groups for all populations, self-harm, alternatives to suicide, a whole bunch of things that is, multiple times a week.
Right. And this is in person, or you're working with people over the phone?
No, I'm immunocompromised, so I'm stuck in the house. So this is all on Zoom.
So I guess one thing I would think of doing is where you're working on Zoom, if you can surround yourself with love as much as you possibly can, the colors where you are, if you can hang fabric is an easy way of changing the surroundings. If you're energetically sensitive, like ways that like not introducing any other chemicals, the colors or like stuffed animals that you love. And if you don't have allergies, flowers and other plants and just all kinds of things so that you're surrounding yourself with love and just life energy and aliveness, just as much as you can. Yeah, in whatever way, being as distant from your computer as you can. If you're not on video, having the video screen tipped at least angled to the side so the light isn't coming right at you, just all kinds of different things.
That's awesome. I didn't think of hanging the fabric because I do have a lot of allergies and I can't really paint a lot and stuff. So that's a really great idea.
Yeah, and just all kinds of can be really beautiful colors. And I have all kinds of batik that I use as fabrics at fairs, and I've had it hung up on the ceiling and on walls and all kinds of things like that. Yeah, just like the whatever energetically of your space, and probably different crystals. Some of the other people might know more specifically than I do, but just all kinds of things like that to really just support you. Make sure the clothing that you're wearing feels really comfortable, like everything about your body that you can, super easy, comfortable. So you're physically supporting yourself and energetically supporting yourself as much as you can while doing your work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All right, great. Thank you so much for your question. If there's anyone else that wants to, oh, she's still pinned. Oops, sorry. Thank you so much. There we go. All right, yeah, so just, yeah, practitioner, if there's anything else you want to jump in. Oh, Satora, go ahead.
So Henry said about the generative thinking. Another thing, an additional thing is there already is well-being there. There's already a lot that is going well, and we as humans are so trained to look at what is not going well, but making a point of noticing what is going well and what you enjoy. You're breathing, you're waking up in the morning, your body is performing a myriad of processes all by itself to make it possible for the body to live and move. That's a miracle that's happening all the time, every day. And there is air to breathe, there is food, so to just acknowledge and just make a point out of acknowledging the things that are going well, that bring you joy, that are just good. Just noticing that, and also thinking about that, just making a note, giving attention to that, giving more attention to what you appreciate, what works well, what is there. And by doing that, you'll find more and more and more, and then you might even over time find good things in things that used to be just only stressful, but not because you think you have to and be grateful, but it just noticing what is there and how can I look for more things that I enjoy, that are good for me and that are working.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Satora. All right. Well, it looks, oh, go ahead, Christine.
Am I like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I sense that you need some past life healing and some lineage clearing as well. And that would really be helpful for you. And when you said you worked with, people who are suicidal, I had a few clients, and I think the EFT is really remarkable for that because it shifts the brain a lot easier. And I can send you a link to my YouTube. Yeah, to my YouTube channel. There's a few things there, and you can check out things that might help you out. Okay.
Oh, that would be great. Actually, it's really funny you say that because I was just saying that I wanted to get involved with past life work because it's something that I'm feeling drawn to. So it's funny you say that.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
And I know Susy does some of this work. If Susy, if there's anything you want to share about that, go ahead.
Let me. Okay, Sage, I need, if I may tune in to you, what do I see? Thanks, Christine, for the tip off too. I hadn't even looked there, and I don't know why. You've been involved in many plagues, Sage, even in the Spanish flu in the 1900s, and then back in the Middle Ages with the Black Death, and that was the Black Death lifetime was one in which you had so many people around you and you couldn't help them, and there was that deep sense of frustration. And that lifetime, I see she's almost, is she a nun? She was cloistered, so she wasn't really exposed to it, and yet she was able to help others by, say, um, placing food out, because she had her own garden. She was a nun, and she had her own food garden that she was able to set stuff out at the road, and then she would go racing in, and so people could come along and take the food. And she got, that was one of those where she died truly of a broken heart because she just couldn't help everybody enough. She asks you to take care of yourself, in that you understand you can do what you can, but you cannot. That was her biggest lesson, was that she was not able to heal everybody. She could help them get through it. Like, as she says, I could give them food enough to help keep body and soul together, but I could not heal the body. I could keep it together, I could keep it alive, but I could not drive she calls them pestilence. She calls it the pestilence out. She didn't have that knowledge. And there was, and so she asks your forgiveness because she couldn't do it. She doesn't feel, she had such a feeling of ineffectiveness. And yeah, it was a broken heart. It wasn't self-inflicted. She just couldn't go on anymore. And so if you would please send love to her and thank her for having that experience, then that her wisdom from it, in that you can do uh, you can do some things to help people, and yet you, Sage, understands that there is that it's not only your shoulders responsibility falls on, it is on other people's shoulders that the responsibility for getting us through this lies. It is not exclusively you. And there was also a nurse. Was she in Spain? No, she came over from Spain because that's how the flu came across. It's because the soldiers would get it and they would bring it back, and then it just nobody was prepared for it, so it was pretty virulent. But she came over on a boat. She was Spanish, and she came over on a boat hoping that she could care for people, and that was another feeling of being overwhelmed. Um, and so she joins with the nun and says, "We are sorry. We did what we could." And she the nurse ultimately caught the Spanish flu, and she had some home remedies she could use, but it wasn't enough. She says it was too little too late, and she couldn't help enough. And there is more grief from her that I would ask you, as you see these two personalities standing in front of you, I would ask you to return their energy to you. So to return the sister's heartbreak and the nurse's grief, give it to return it to them so that they can restore your energy to you. Uh, and it's it feels like it's a cord to be severed. It is one that can be broken. You have their wisdom, um, but I ask you not to take on their grief. Um, Understand that you are not alone and that you are part of the greater effort to help others get through it. In particular, it is your cousin, you say, that's in ICU?
No, it's a friend.
It's a friend. They were your cousin in a previous life, and was that person in a he was a soldier in the nurse's lifetime. So there is that connection. He is taking on that the mantle of illness in this lifetime, and as the cousin, I talked to him, and he says, as she she the nurse helped him. The nurse sat with him, and then you, Sage, you are there with the cousin, and for that, uh, they hold you in great esteem. That you are able to help them, or to at least the friend feels calmer. The friend is saying they are helping me to understand that there is something to live for, that the friendship is stronger, and that it goes beyond just the physical. Return their energy to them so that you may fill in with your own energy and help you restore your own uh, what is it, your own energy. It's your own energy, and it's your own belief in yourself, and that you are recharged, because that grief is quite draining. And so if you would please give them back that grief. The nun and the nurse, they understand. They have lived their part. They have had that experience, and they say it is not your place to worry about how they might have done it. You are in your own place. You need to be your own person. You do not need to live their life. And the friend uh, recognizes your place in their life, and it is giving them the impetus, the motivation, the reason to complete this experience. And honestly, I don't know how to interpret that. Whether it is to recover or to not, I don't know. They are here to complete an experience. I think it's because I don't want to see what the outcome is. It's not my place. Your friend still has a choice. But you are there to remind them that love comes in all shapes and sizes and flavors. And it was the love that the nun had for her congregation, the love the nurse had for her ability to help others, to comfort others. It's that love they wish to pass on to you and not their grief.
That makes sense because that's definitely a lot of what I deal with, a lot of grief and a lot of heartbreak.
Okay, so they ask you to see the love. Love is the basis for all of this. It is through grief we all realize how much we loved someone who passed on. So find that love. Heartbreak is feeling too much love for someone, or giving them so much love that someone doesn't know how to deal with it. So if you find the love, find the love in the situation, and that's what's going to help you. That's one of the things that will help you navigate. Find the love in what it is you do, find the love in what you want to do. Yeah, they bless you. Oh boy, do they send their love to you. And it feels to me they are ready to move to the light. Send them love, send them gratitude. And remember the love. That's their parting shot.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sage.
Right. Thank you so much, Susie. Thank you so much, Sage, for your question and your openness to all that we're sharing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. We've got another question from Lena. And I mentioned in the chat, if there are any practitioners that are leaving early, if you could ready yourselves to answer first, that would be great. Lena, do you want to come on video? It's totally up to you. Okay, great. Here you are. All right, go ahead. What is your question?
So the topic is around stress. I like to help people, and I just carry on a lot of stress. Like anywhere from friend, family, work, finances, and like dealing with grief too. It's just like everything's all happening at once. So I just don't know if I know sometimes I'm supposed to like take care of myself first, but I always come last. But everything just happens all at once. And I just don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel like I can handle it, but sometimes I can't. But I just don't know if, how to like protect my own energy and just kind of not just pick on other people, or people just come to me and it just gravitates to me for help. And so I just don't know how to deal with everything.
Yeah, totally great questions. And yeah, I mentioned I know we have practitioners that might need to leave early, so I wanted them to be able to answer first if they can. So let's have Satora go first. All right, Satora. Go ahead, Satora.
Hi, Lena. Thank you for your question. I want to suggest to you that to find a way to the burdens that you take on, the problems of others and all of that, to find a way to give that to the greater part of you. Do you believe in angels or any sages or any goddess? Do you have any representation of the divine or source that you believe in?
I don't. I know someone's there, just don't know who, and I forget about them. Like I forget to ask for help. If that makes sense.
Do you have a sense that there's a greater power, like source? We could call it source, like the power that creates the universe, that is behind all the creations, some giant intelligence. I mean, just the intelligence that created our body, that made all of this work, and the earth. Do you believe there is something there?
Yes, I believe someone's there. Yeah.
So I would, I
I guess I always like forget that there's someone there, like I mean, I think I was listening to some of the other, the responses and stuff like that. Is just, I think I always forget, like maybe I can ask the angels. I just don't feel connected to anyone, if that makes sense. And I'm afraid to ask for help. That's my problem.
okay. Is it okay if I channel something for you? Yeah, I feel something coming for you.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, so hello, we wish to give you a message. We so appreciate it. We so appreciate your great heart and your caring. You have such a desire to be of service. You have such a great love and such a great heart to include everyone. And that is something that you can acknowledge in yourself. For in the greatness of your heart and your desire to be of service and your desire to help, that is not something that should be of burden to you. It can be something, a source of strength to you. In when you can appreciate this within you, the greatness of your love, your beautiful heart, that you acknowledge within yourself this beautiful gift that you have and these pure intentions, that your desire to reach out and help is so great. Just by acknowledging it, it can grow within you and become a source of strength within you, that you can, while you help others, do it in a way that is also nurturing to you, just through the act of acknowledging it and seeing yourself for that and seeing that within you and making a point of noticing that. And if you don't remember to ask for help, that is okay. It is that we wish to bring your attention to acknowledging yourself, acknowledging the greatness of your heart and that love that is so giving and overflowing. And that is within you, that is your natural being and your natural inclination. And by tuning into that and consciously acknowledging it, it's also nurturing you. And it will bring more balance into your relationships and into your giving. And yes, that is our message to you, and that that you can also be the recipient of that great love that you have to give, of that great love that just flows out of you. And by acknowledging that it is there and that you are such a big-hearted person, such a caring person, it will also flow to you and nurture you in that. And in that, you will find ways of taking better care of yourself and feeling less overwhelmed, because you can tune into that love that is within you naturally already. Is that helpful?
And sense. Thank you.
All right, great. Yeah, Satora, anything else? And then could you share your contact info, who you are, what you do, and how people can reach out to you again before you leave?
Yes, I'm Satora. I'm a channel and energy healer. I work with AmarEase, a group of ascended masters and angels. AmarEase.com is our website. We do have something called the Daily Eavesdrop, where I send out a message 5 days a week that is channeled, and messages to uplift and inspire. So that's on the website too. If you're interested in that, you can check it out. I think that's it. I have a 20% discount on sessions, and I hope this was helpful. And thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for coming, and thank you, Lena and Sage, for asking questions.
Thanks so
Thank
much, Satora. It was lovely to have you. All right, Christine is next.
Hi, Lena. It's just, I'd like to ask you a question. What keeps you from putting yourself first? What's the feeling, the emotion, or the thought?
I don't know. I think I feel like I'm strong enough to do, like handle everything. I'm just very independent. I don't like to ask for help. I don't, so I know everyone says, you can't do anything when you're like half empty, or I never recharge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I pretty much run at low, all the time. So I just put myself last. Like, I just feel like I'm not taking care of myself. Physically, mentally, I'm just go, 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 go. I feel like my brain doesn't even stop it, I go to sleep, and so I don't recharge. I don't take a break, At work, I don't take a break. People is like, go take your 15-minute break. I don't. I just keep going. Evening, when I get my family down, I'm still going. I'm all the way up until I lay down, to sleep. And then in morning, I'm going again. So I'm not taking the breaks. I just feel like I'm not happy too. Like, I think what Satora made sense. Like, maybe I should look at it and say, why do these people come to me? Or yeah, I don't know. That's what I mean by I know people are like, oh, you need to take care of yourself and your health. And I just don't. Like, I just feel like I have so much on my plate. There's no time for me. So,
yeah. However, I've been there. I've done that. I was an elementary school teacher for almost 30 years, and there was never enough time for me. And I don't want you to end up where I did, right? So if we don't listen to the whispers that we get from life, we get the tornado. And I really got the tornado. Major. I think it was more a hurricane, but the point is, I really sense there's this lack of self-worth. Do you feel you are worthy of allowing yourself time? And that's why what Satora said, the love is so important, right? I'm just building on to what she has said. So it's like in a plane, they always tell you put your mask on before you help someone else, and do you know why they ask us to do that, Lena?
yeah.
Because we want you alive, right? To be able to take care of others. So there are so many, if you take some time to sit down and look at the consequences of what is happening in your life because you're not taking time for yourself, and the consequences of taking time for yourself, how much, like, relationships. My relationship with my daughter went down the tubes when we were like this, but and my children will tell you, I was neurotic, okay? And now my daughter calls me out to chat. She took me out for Mother's Day for a nice meal. Like, I had to switch when I say I healed my life on so many levels. There was so much. Do I still have to be careful that I don't get triggered into go? Yes. I really need to pay attention to that. So breathe, and to calm that amygdala, because it's a pattern, right? It's a generational pattern, and, you know, and it's a society pattern. So if you just, and try it with me, and just relax the shoulders and then exhale as you breathe. Because as you tap on these meridian points, where I'm tapping here on the collarbone point is one of them, it sends a message to your amygdala to tell you that you are safe. So if your amygdala starts feeling safe, you'll be able to slow down. And when we can calm our amygdala, we can slow down. So I went from sleeping 20 hours a day to being able to be up at 11 o'clock at night here. So these strategies do work, and it's just filling up your toolbox. And I put the Snap Psycho link in the chat. So if you can find that, Lena, and you can do it. I have a 15-minute recording, and it's a free gift. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. How are you feeling right now? Overwhelmed by what I said, or okay?
No, I feel okay. I just, you know, sometimes people tell you, but you just kind of like, we just have to, invest in time in ourselves. Is what I don't do. Like, you know, if you said, oh, put on your mask first, I would probably put like 5 masks on other people first before I do.
Yeah. And there's a trigger in there that needs some help, and just keep doing your best, Lena. Okay. Keep doing your best. And I'm sending you lots of love. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
And I'm going to wrap you in pink. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you take great care of yourself.
I will. Thank you.
And I saw Laureli. Thank you for putting my information in the chat. So I have a super special and on right now, and you can email me at efttransformation.com to continue working and getting to the bottom of things if you would like that. So thank you very much, everyone. It was nice seeing you again, Lorelei and Susy and the other ladies.
And I just want to clarify for the recording, you said your email, it's efttransformation@gmail.com. So that's how people reach out to you. Okay, great. And your website is onlineefttransformation.com.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laurel.
Lovely having you. I know it's really late where you are. So all right, let's see. We've got Sarah P in line. Sarah, I just need you to have your video on so I can put you up here in the spotlight. Great. There you are. Go ahead.
Awesome. Okay. I know exactly how you're feeling, Lena, because as a mom of 2 small children, an engineer, and starting a business as a health coach, I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning to work on my marketing and all that stuff. And then I would drop the kids off at daycare, and then I would go to work for 12 hours a day. And then I'd pick up the kids from daycare, and then I'd come home and I'd cook the food. Does that sound familiar? Like, I'd cook the food, I'd get the kids in bed, and then put them in bed, and then I would finish the rest of my work, right? And then I would pass out. So if that sounds familiar, let me know. So it's best to start, for me personally, especially because you did say something that you were not feeling happy. And for me personally, it was finding that one thing, not a million different things, not, but finding that one thing that I really enjoyed doing. And then I would not force myself. I don't want to say force myself, but I would force myself. I would force myself to take that 15-minute break, to take that 30-minute lunch if I had to. And I would go outside. And for me, it was taking pictures of flowers in the office complex that I worked at. So they had a lot of really pretty flowers. I love colors, and I love photography. So I'm like, all right, cool. And that's all I would do. Literally for 30 minutes, I would just take pictures of flowers because it's really what felt good to my heart. And a lot of times when we're going and going and going, and we really want to help everybody else, and we forget and we put ourselves on the proverbial back burner, and we forget to take care of ourselves, or we just don't feel like we have time to take care of ourselves, that's when we can start to feel depression, anxiety, our go switch feels like it's stuck on, and that unfortunately could crash us out basically. And when we try to do new things like, well, I'm just going to meditate 5 minutes a day, but during that whole entire meditation, you're just thinking, well, I got to do this, and my to-do list is like 50 billion things long, and and all these things. Your brain doesn't really have a chance to relax. So to distract your brain from that, oh, let's do the mindful minute or for me, it was really helpful in the beginning when I was at that phase. It was really helpful to do something that I had to do, not another thing on the to-do list, but a happy, fun thing that I really enjoyed. And I made that a priority in my day, even if it was because people would tell me the same thing. Are you okay? You should really take your break. Oh, but help me because I want to complain to you about everything because I feel like I can tell you everything. And so I was that person everybody came to in corporate, oh, can you help us figure this out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me set aside everything I'm doing. I'll help you. Because I really felt like it was the right thing to do. Unfortunately, how I was treating myself was not how I was treating my best friend. And so thinking of it as you are your own best friend, you're always with yourself 24 hours a day. Think about, just open up to thinking about, hey, best friend, talk to yourself in the mirror if you want to, or just kind of talk in your head, because I know how the motor mind works, right? It's oh yeah. Just talk to yourself in your head and be like, what do you feel like is fun today? What do you want to do today? What sounds fun today? Let's give ourselves 5 minutes. We're not out of 24 hours. 5 minutes isn't going to hurt anything. And just start to open up to that as a first step, because I know that it can be really overwhelming to do the perfect meditation or sit there for an hour in the morning and be like, oh, I'm going to do all of this and that, and this is for me. And it's harder to get started when we feel like we have to do our self-care perfectly. So I just want to allow you that permission for yourself to just really find a 5-minute activity that's super fun for you. It doesn't have to be meditation. It doesn't have to be this perfect regimented thing, but just find that thing and just schedule it in your day. Pretend like it's the most important meeting with your boss ever. And that's your 5 minutes because you're your own boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it does. Thank you for the tip.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, Sara. All right. We've got Susy coming in here now. Right, go ahead, Susy.
Hey, Lena. I tend to err on the side of, I call it lazy. Other people would call it energy conservation. But what I was taught to do some time ago when I'm working on self-esteem, if this is the way we're going to go with this, is I look in the mirror and say, I love you just because. I can say it as many times and I can do it as often as I need to. But when I look in the mirror, and that's usually first thing in the morning, I'll say that. So I start small and I start kind of, that's the easiest way for me to do it. And I hope that's useful for you.
Thank you, Susie.
Where's the little hand?
Thanks, Susy. All right, Kendara's got something for you.
Hi,
Wait,
Lena.
I'm going to check. Do you pronounce your name Lena or Lena? I think it's Lena, but I'm not sure.
Lena? Is it Lena? Well,
You're muted. Oh, let's make sure she gets.
you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Lena.
Okay, Lena, hi. I've just got a couple little tools which I find to be really helpful for me. And number one is The ego is the part of you which makes you feel like you've got to do stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, if you don't do this, you're letting people down, the world's going to fall apart, and you're just not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So acknowledge it, because the only job it has is to protect you. So go, I hear you. And it's going to be, oh, she hears me. And then give it a job. Help me find the best cup of coffee. Help me find something that I need to do. And it's an amazing, amazing tool. Another tool that I really love is called the Blue Room. Have you ever heard of it? Okay, well, you will now. Okay, so you're familiar with chakras, aren't you? Yeah, okay. So cobalt blue is the color of the throat chakra. And you create a cobalt blue room in your head. And you invite anybody you've got issues with. Like, boy, I'm so mad at so-and-so, but I'm not going to tell him. And you invite them in. Now, someone once said you have to build a real room. No, you don't have to build a real room. You're doing this in your head. And you invite them in and you say, you tell them how you feel. And then you let them tell you how they feel. So, you know, I feel like you're taking advantage of me and you're not listening to me. And they'll go, well, I feel that you're ungrateful. And you may not even hear the words, but you'll get the feeling. And then you tell them what you need. I need for you to acknowledge me, or I need for you to get off my back. And you let them tell you what they need. And then you make an agreement and you shake hands, and it's incredible. It's very, very powerful. I'm going to give you some other tools that I really like. It feels like you're an empath and you're very sensitive, which is really a gift, but you're probably picking up more stuff than you need. So do you ever do anything with crystals?
I have some, but I don't always know the meaning, of what.
Yeah, so let me give you some
have.
suggestions. I know there's so many crystals out there. Any dark crystal, like jet, obsidian, I've got a thing called shungite. Just put it in a little, put it in your pocket or get a chain or something. That'll help you so much. It'll ground you. Selenite's really good. My desk is so filled with so many crystals. Here's another thing I'm going to share with you, and it's powerful and really, really fun to do. So I'm going to stand up, and I hope that my clothes aren't really wrinkled or I'm not unbuttoned. But do you want to stand up with me for a second? Well, stand with me. No, okay. Well, okay, so this is good because you can kind of see me. I'm going to get rid of my background because you've got to, so folks, now you're going to see why I have a background, because you're going to see my really messy apartment, so I'm apologizing. But anyway, I want to help you do this. Okay. See, so it goes from a really beautiful forest to a really plain room. But anyway, what you do is you stand up and you take your right hand, okay? And you just go down like this, and you're cutting the energy. And then you go to the front, and you go to the back, and then you go to the left. And you're doing it really subtly. You don't sit there going like that. Then you go across the top of the head and on the bottom of each foot. And what that will do for you is that'll cut their stuff, but then fill it with light, because you don't want to have these voids. And by doing that, it's really powerful. And one more thing that I love is I love to surround myself with pink light, because you've got the red of energy and you've just got the white of light. It's very, very powerful. So these are just a couple tools I use. So I hope you find them helpful. And thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Great. Thank you, Kendara. All right. Oh, Sara. Let's get Sara up here. All right, great. Go ahead, Sara.
Hi, Lena. So while you were receiving many different insights, I loved it. One thing that was coming to mind is taking yourself on a day date, and it's just you going and doing something that you've always wanted to do, and it's just for you, right? And no expectations. And so there's an amazing book. It's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a book that takes 12 weeks. to do, but it's something you can't pre-read. It's like, it's slow, it's a little, but there's morning pages. So you wake up in the morning and you just scribe, you just like get all the stuff off like that, whatever you're upset about or mad about. And I do that, like literally I'll process my dreams and I'll just do all of it. And I get way more clear. But she has a little bit more of a technique, but in part of it is taking yourself on a date. So whatever that may mean to you, and it's your joy, like what you want to do. And it doesn't have to cost money. It doesn't have to be like, it literally could be like, you know what? I'm going to take myself on a date and I'm going to walk through my neighborhood and walk down the alleys and see what kind of messages I get. And that's like, and it's just making that conscious choice of like, this is my time and it's my date. Like, and you can make it whatever it is, you know, like, occasionally I'm like, you know what, I want to go and have this different type of food today. And I'm going to go by myself because I want to experience it. And there's all different types of day dates. And also like, I like it kind of gives me an excuse to do something that otherwise I might have felt guilty doing. And when I say guilty, it's because other people would be like, what are you doing? So that sounds silly. And I'm like, no, I took myself on a day date, or even like a healing sound thing, whatever. So I wanted to share that was coming up, and because there was a lot of different references of things, how you can support yourself and what you can do, and making that like your day date. But it's The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a fabulous book, and lots of different authors, like creative people, and you don't have to be like a mastermind creative person, but it starts sparking your creativity. That's the key. That's why you do it. It's not like, oh, I need to be creative to do it. No, like the whole journey of The Artist's Way is to see where you are in your own creative space, and help, you know, kind of it pulls it out of you, like, if that's the best way, because sometimes we need that. Like, we know it's in us. It's said everything is within us, but sometimes we need to be able to pull it out. And it's so good when we're able to be in the journey, in the space of ourselves, especially when we're journeying, where we can see it. And there's darkness in that. Like, we have stories, we have stuff, and we don't, you know, we have bad days, and like we're going through a lot, and journaling that out. And the morning pages, yeah. So Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Thank you. Wishing you the best and hugging you.
Thanks so much, Sarah. All righty, I guess I'm going to put myself up in here. Okay, Lena. Just sound like you got some background noise. Want to make sure you're still here. Lena, can you hear us?
Hello? Sorry.
Hi.
Hello?
It's okay. We know you got stuff going on. Can you still hear us? Are you okay?
Yes, I can. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Yeah, I wanted to talk with you a little bit. So, yeah. You all right now?
Yeah.
What's happening for you?
Sorry. I'm also with family right now too. So
Yeah. Or just if there's any way you can go to any room that's quieter, or it's probably too cold outside, or even a closet or anything. Just I want you to be able to be in space for yourself right now, if you can do that.
okay, give me 1 minute.
Yeah, I know you still need signal too, so. Just practitioners, I know we're all getting close to 8:30, so trying to finish up soon. And I don't know if anyone else needs to share, and we might go just like 5 minutes over, but I'll aim to be quick. Okay, Lena, you just let us know when you're ready. We're having exactly
Okay.
right now.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
So I want to go kind of a different pathway, I think, than maybe the other people went. So some of the things you shared are that you feel afraid to ask for help.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Lena, can you hear me? Lena, can you hear me?
The connection keeps going out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, Lena, You're muted. So I can't tell if you can hear me. Lena, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Yeah.
Okay, great. So some of the things you shared, that you're afraid to ask for help, that you often don't feel connected to spirit, that you don't remember different ways of taking care of yourself. So I want to kind of wander more into your fear. And I just think that we might be able to use your fear as a way to shift things for you, because if you don't desire to take care of yourself, it just won't happen, right? So you so desire to take care of the other people around you. I get that. I hear that. And so let's say that you don't take care of yourself, that you feel more stress and more stress, and you get burned out. What do you imagine would happen? Selena, are you able to hear me? You're muted. I can't hear you.
Yes. Yeah, it wouldn't be good if I didn't.
So tell me about it. Tell me like what might happen if you really did get burned out. You know, what might happen for you and what might happen for the people around you and the people that you want to care for.
Like I notice I get more headaches. I just kind of just like kind of like not feel good, you know.
Just thinking about it right now, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what might happen for the, so if you really do burn yourself out, what might happen for the people that you care for now and that you really want to care for?
Like I feel I have to be solid for them. So
but what if you actually burn yourself out?
I guess I don't see myself there. Like
you're not now, right?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
What?
I guess I just feel like I can overcome a lot of it, but it's just, I don't know.
So sort of you, it sounds like you don't want to imagine that possibility. Is that true?
Yeah. I don't think I would get there. But.
So it sounds like maybe you believe that you do just minimal enough self-care that you're not going to burn out.
Yeah.
And when it starts to get to that edge, what do you do? What do you do so you don't burn out? It sounds like you must be doing something right now.
Right now, I mean, like, so like in the evening, I'll just go ahead and, I mean, I still do a bunch of errands and stuff. I'm doing a lot of running around. That is always in preparation for the next day, you know?
Well, so let's see. So it sounds like I guess so it sounds like you live like at the bare edge of and I like it's totally great that I'm asking this and that I'm the one talking to you right now. So I push myself really hard myself. So I do different things, but how do you know if it's ever too much? Like, do you ever get the sense that it's too much and you have to back off just a little, or you have to do just a little bit of self-care, like just a little?
Yeah, I probably don't really do a lot of it. Like, when I notice like I'm getting really, really stressed, I just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'll stop what I'm doing, you know, whatever, and then just kind of go. I mean, I don't really breathe very well. You know, you just kind of like, okay, I just don't have time for this. There's just not enough time of the day for me or anything. I'll just either like, okay, I need to run errands. So I don't know, people think it's weird, like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I'm grocery shopping, right? I'm
Yeah.
just walking around. So I guess I don't know. I know people are like, that's just crazy. You're out late at night. But
Do you sleep really only about 5 or 6 hours a night?
probably 6 hours.
Probably 6 hours. Yeah. So one is genetically, you might be a short sleeper like me. So that might be part of why you can do so much more than other people.
Mhm.
I used to worry that it was so wrong all these years. And then I discovered like, oh, I'm just different.
Mhm.
I just had a thought. Where did I want to go? Hold on,
Like, it's
okay.
weird. Yesterday I went to finally go to do my like acupuncture and like cupping,
Mhm.
and I just, she talked a lot about stuff. She's just kind of like, if you don't take care of yourself, you're gonna go to depression or not happy, and I'm
I want to point out you were actually doing acupressure there, right? Or acupuncture and
Mhm.
cupping. So you actually were
Yeah.
doing some self-care right then. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it sounds like part of it is when something gets too much, you shift to another activity. So it's not that you stop to do nothing or to do a specific self-care activity, but maybe you do change up what you're doing and you change the
Mhm.
order and the amount of something that you're doing.
Yeah, I think
Right?
it just piles up, and then I just kind of rejuvenate somehow, like in a way, like, but it takes a while for me to get
Mhm.
there, right? So-
Right. You do some, it sounds like you do some self-care, you sneak it in there. So I was just curious, how is this pattern, how is it familiar to the first few years of your life? How is this similar? How is this familiar to your childhood? How is this similar to the first few years of your life?
I feel like it's instilled in me. Like, I'm the oldest child. My parents just expected a lot out of me. Like, I just had to do a lot of things on my own. So I'm like, just have to work hard all the time. Like, if I don't do anything, I feel like I'm lazy or I'm not doing enough or something. Like, some
Well,
people
how is it familiar to the first 10 years of your life? Sounds like your parents expected you to do a lot and maybe you stepped in and you did do a lot.
Mhm.
In what ways did you do a lot when you were a young child?
I don't remember anything really fun. Like, just, I don't know. I don't enjoy my childhood. Like, I don't know. Like, they were always busy working. So that's just all I see,
Yeah, and I was going to ask you
Um,
too, where you learned this, who you learned
mhm.
this from.
Yeah, my parents have worked in restaurants all their lives, and, Chinese restaurants, and you work until 11 at night.
Yeah.
You prepare for the night, like we always had to
Right.
prepare food the next day. That's just what my mom did all the
Yeah.
time. We barely had the weekends to do anything, family time or anything. We lived the restaurant 24 hours,
Did your
It was
parents
just-
sleep? Did your parents sleep only like 6 hours too?
Yeah, probably less, probably more like
Wow.
5.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
And how many
so
kids did you used to stay at the restaurant a lot? And did you take care of siblings?
yes,
there?
I had a younger sibling, and then cousins. So I was like the oldest. So we just took care of each other,
Oh,
babysat them, and just worked. As soon as I can get a working, well, younger, like 10 or 12, you're like clearing up tables, doing dishes. And so, yeah, this is kind of my work ethic is just there. And that's why, like, when I'm at my state job, I still work,
yeah.
like
yeah.
even on the weekend, my mind is still thinking about, oh, what do I have going on Monday, and this and that. And I don't take breaks. I'll tell my coworker, remind him to take breaks, but then I don't take one.
Yeah.
So
we've talked before that you have the server talent, which is all about
Mhm.
care. It's ultimately it's about self-care, but it's really about caring for other people and loving other people. And I know Henry's got to go. So I just want Henry to be able to share a little bit about themselves before they take
Okay.
off. And then I'll come back and then, is Kendara? Okay. Yeah. And then I'll say a little bit more. Go ahead, Henry.
I'm sorry, I'm so deep in what you're doing with Lena that I don't even, what am I supposed to do now?
Just go ahead. You're Henry India Holden, and people can find you
Okay.
at.
Okay, right. Okay, gotcha. By the way, I just love what you and Lena, the work you're doing right now. It's just wonderful. So, okay, I'm Henry India Holden, and you can reach me at henryindiaholden.com. And I do have a special if you would like to have a session with me, it's $30 for 30 minutes or $50 for 50 minutes. And I'm going to be on a panel. No, not on a panel. It's a
You're a guest speaker at the BEPC.
Thank you. Thank you.
BEPC membership group, and you're going to be giving a talk on September 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. and it's $6 or $21 for more talks and a party at the end of the year.
Yeah, and it's about learning to read the tarot and the history and meaning of the tarot. And I'm going to teach a tarot class starting October 9th. And it was just great being here. And oh my God, I wish I could stay, but I have another obligation. Just great work, Laureli, that you're doing with Lena. Just wow, loving it. See you all later.
Thanks, Henry. Thanks for being here. And y'all, I help run BEPC, so I scheduled Henry to give a talk. So that's why I know about that. Oh, yeah, Lena. So like part of what we're looking at is like this goes so far back, right? It's pretty much all you've ever known, right? And you learned it from your parents. They really taught you like you had to be this way. There were kids coming. They never taught you about play. So it's not like you knew that as an option. Like the thing you always knew is like taking care of other people. And like, this is a natural part of your soul too, right? Is to love and care for people. And yeah, there are questions in the chat and I'll get to those in a few minutes. Oh yeah. So it's like this life journey for you. And, you know, so you might actually genetically be a short sleeper, and maybe it's possible that both of your parents are short sleepers. So you really need less sleep. And you've got a lot of energy. Short sleepers are more optimistic. They have a lot of energy. They tend to get a ton done, right? So in some ways you're different than other people. And like, part of why I was asking you of like, what happens if it's too much is that if you actually want to change it, if there's this little part of you that wants to change it, you'll only like do that if you want to, right? So it might be that you scare yourself with like some bigger worst case scenario, right? Or it could be that you really want it because like maybe someone else is learning this from you. You have kids, right? Now they're all grown up, right?
No,
They're not. How old are they?
they're 10 and 5.
Oh, they're 10 and 5. Okay. Okay, just one quick mouse in the chat. They're 10 and 5. So do you want your kids to work this hard?
No.
Did they already work this hard?
No.
So you've kind of like spoiled them. So like the pendulum's going to swing the opposite way. Is that kind of what's going to happen?
I think so. I feel like I need to teach them more. I mean, they do, we make them go to bed, you know, a set schedule. Because I
don't do any
want them-
chores. Do they do any chores? Do they do a little bit of work?
Yeah, I'm starting to have them do some chores.
Yeah, that's great.
Because I
That's
was like,
great.
they need to learn some responsibility.
Yeah. So what if your kids learn to work as hard as you? What if they stop playing and they worked as hard as you do? Yeah, how does that make you feel? Yeah, you don't even have to say it. We can really see it on you. You know, and what even if they didn't do this, but what if when they choose a partner for their life, they choose someone that works as hard as you? That's the thing that might motivate you to make a change. And you probably still can work harder than everyone else and sleep less than everyone else. But you probably also want to be here the whole time that they grow up. And you want to be here to find out who they partner with in life. Yeah. So sometimes we have to take ourselves to that place of fear to find the desire.
And it's so hard because I mean, we've had so many deaths. My grandmother, we just had her funeral yesterday. She had 11 kids.
and both my parents are gone. And so I just looked at a picture. All my grandparents are gone. My parents are gone. My grandparents are gone. And it feels sad because I'm like, my boys never got to meet their great grandparents. You know, they didn't get to meet my mom.
You want them to be here you want to be here so they experience you, all of you. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like a huge, huge dramatic change. Even just little steps, little teeny steps. You know, and going back over and listening to the recording and so many ideas that people have shared here, right? And I know, oh goodness, you could have something physically that represents the real steps that you take. You know, the little things that you do, write them down in a piece of paper, throw it in a jar, watch a few things add up in the jar, and celebrate that you've put a few things in the jar. Right? These patterns go so far back and so deep. Of being really gentle with yourself, of finding ways to let them shift, creating ways to let them shift, even if the motivation is your kids and being here for your kids. Right? Finding whatever it is.
Yeah, I just have a difficult time finding what it is that I enjoy. You know, I'm glad, you know, one of them mentioned like, oh yeah, is it whether it be taking pictures, you know, just something little, just to shift the mind, to shift, you know, the pattern, or, you know.
And it's like, how can I get all this done and take care of me too? Right? And just wondering about those things.
And I think just remembering, just kind of like give it up or ask for help. I always forget, you know.
And I say, like, you used to always forget. Right? And I don't want to add weight. I don't want to add weight to all the weight that you have. But so like, just find, this is a stone. Find something that you can wear around your neck that when you touch, you're reminded, or something that small that you put in your purse or your pocket. This is a piece of petrified coral, like that I love to touch, right? So just touching it is something good for me. Find just some small, if you want to, only if you want to, right? You find some small thing just to help remind you. And then you've got tons and tons of things that people have suggested tonight, all of tonight. And I know I've taken a chunk of time here to share with you and to ask questions.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
I just tell my practitioners to be quick, and then I'm not quick. So yeah, I want to see if anyone else has anything else to share. And yeah, before we finish, practitioners, anyone else? And I know then we have to finish. Yeah, if any of you have something else, I want you to be able to jump in. Okay, maybe I'll take you off spotlight too. Yeah, Lena, thank you so much for letting us share with you. You've come many times over the years, at least several times over the last year and a half. You have such a beautiful, beautiful heart.
Thank you, everyone.
We want you here too. All right. Well, practitioners, let's go around, and I'll put your information in the chat again. And by the way, someone asked what BEPC is, and it used to be part of another organization, and it was definitely the Employee Parapsychology Club. Can't say that other word anymore. And it's now a nonprofit in Washington, and we have monthly speakers, and we have a Conscious Wellness Expo that should be November 6 and 7 here in Seattle area. And we have space for more practitioners. If you want to join us, then please come see all the 150, if we're full, practitioners that'll be there. We're like 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way full right now. All right, so practitioners, let's go around and take turns sharing. Share who you are, what you offer, what your special is, how people can reach you, and I'll put your information in the chat too. All right. Kendara, you want to go first? Sara, Susy, and then I'll share. Oh, Sara. Yeah.
I'm in Denver. I teach classes. My specialties are tarot, I Ching, and belief shifting. I have an introduction to metaphysics meetup that has people come in twice a month and speak. And on the 20th, from about 6 o'clock to 8, I will be doing an online psychic development circle for free. So just go on my meetup thing and see it. It's just been a pleasure to do this. So one more thing, I'm offering a special for $1 a minute. And that's it. Thank you.
And did you say your website links? People on the video need to know.
Yeah, okay, sure. So my website is kendaralaurel.com. And my Gmail is kendaralaurel@gmail.com. And my meetup is meetup.com, Introduction to Metaphysics, Denver. And thank you for letting me be a part of this. It's really incredible.
Thank you so much, Kendara. It's Kendara for anyone listening that doesn't know how to spell your name. All right, great. We'll have Sarah E, then Sarah P, and then Susy.
Oh, I'm a breath worker, and Lena, this Thursday night, I do have a breathwork circle, and I think it would be perfect for you just to breathe through a lot of your grieving and just being in a place of just honoring yourself. It's from 6 to 7:30. And you can find it on my website, which is Sara, Sara, last name is Egert, Egert, .com. Also, Laureli will post it here. But yes, it's on Eventbrite. So if you're in Eventbrite and you search breathwork, it's this Thursday night. It's virtual. You just set up your little space in your home space and, tell your family that you're taking yourself on a date. So yes, this Thursday night, and that is my offering. If you're interested in Feng Shui, please feel free to contact me directly. And my cat says hi with all this animal energy. So thank you.
Thanks, Sarah E. Sarah P.
Yeah, so yes, Sarah P. Sara Perez. My website is spmeditation.com. I use shamanic drumming to help you get out of your own head and relax so your body can heal itself and find answers that are right for you rather than what all the gurus are saying and like, okay, let's follow these 20 things, but really getting back to you. I'm offering 20% off a Reiki-infused shamanic drumming session. And Laureli has the information posted in the chat. Yeah, and so just like I said, one thing at a time, open up to what it is you would really love and treat yourself like your own best friend.
Thanks so much. And your website, if you didn't say it, is spmeditation.com, right? Great.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Susy.
And I'm Susy Parker Goins of Blue Lightning Healing. You can find me at bluelightninghealing.com. I've got pages listing off the events that I'm doing and also my websites every day. Every time they debut or they go live, you can find them there. And you can get a lot of information from those. You can email me at Susy, that's SUSY, at bluelightninghealing.com. And my special for this event is 20% off a 60-minute session. So that brings it down to 120. And you put in the code 60 MeWe 20. And I am so grateful for all of you for being vulnerable and for being in service. And I am so proud to be a part of this. And blessings to all of you, my dears.
Thanks so much, Susy. And I'm Laurel Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader and a body psychology coach. I'm offering my sessions at 40% off today, $100 per hour for the public and $60 per hour for BIPOC folks as a step for making reparations. You can find out more about me at laurelishimayo.com. That's LAURELISHIMAYO.com. All my events are listed on the calendar on that website. And just lots of different things going on. I have an authentic relating deep dive that starts tomorrow evening. That's an opportunity to play games, transformational games. So interactions with people and opportunities to deepen in you being authentic and being in connection with others at the same time, and learning to be yourself around the presence of others. Witness them, be with them, share impact, and be real. Make great practice for being more and more that way in the rest of our lives too. And yeah, just so much going on too with MeWe fairs. I think I know I posted the information in the chat too. So at MeWeFairs.com, we've got a lot of other events coming up. In particular, this Thursday, we have our free online fair from 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time with, I think, full house. We got 16 practitioners. We'll have probably 20, 25 talks, all that free. And the practitioners will be available to sessions as well. Excuse me, on all offering specials. Friday, September 17, we have a panel on animal communication and healing. Practitioners, we have a tiny bit more space on that if you want to join us. And Sunday, September 19, we have a panel on reclaiming our power over sexism, harassment, and abuse. Monday, we have a panel working with the Fae and the elementals at the autumnal equinox. And then Thursday, September 30, we have a panel on shadow play, facing our shadows. So yeah, lots going on tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks, practitioners, for staying late. Thanks, Sage and Lena, for asking questions, and everyone for holding space and learning together. Oh yeah, thank you so much. Feel free to unmute and